Outboard engines are lighter, cheaper, easier to maintain, and provide no drag when raised. But how do they perform on a 40-foot cruising catamaran? Well, today we're going to find out and test this new Seawind 1160XL with twin 50 horsepower outboards, both under power and sail, inshore and offshore, with real performance data. We also talked to two Seawind owners who have sailed extensively with outboard motors for their opinions. And finally, racing in a fleet of cats, including a Nautilus 40, to get a real comparison. G'day, I'm Brent Vaughan from Multi-Hull Central, and today we're going to take out the all-new generation Seawind 1160XL for a test sail to compare how it sails in comparison to the older Seawind 1160 Lite. Let's go. So one of the first things you notice getting onto the new boat is this little step. So we've got a nice little boarding step there, quite a large platform, as the beam of the transom is a bit more buoyant for when the boat loads up under power or under sail. Equally, the side boarding gate is really neat if you need to bring on provisions or board from a fixed dock on the side. So another really cool neat feature. So today we're going to take out this new Seawind 1160XL on Sydney Harbour and record some performance data. It's the first time these twin 50 horsepower Yamaha high thrust outboards have been used on this new design, and it's actually breaking new ground for Seawinds too, as they've been previously only used with 25 horsepower Yamahas on the early 1160 Lite models. But before we start testing, let's take a look inside. When the first of the classic Seawind 1160 was launched, it was hugely innovative, bringing together Seawind's heritage in open deck cats, but combining it with the luxury and closing comfort. The eureka moment was the innovation of the tri-folding doors that allowed the freedom of open plan living, but the ability to close in the boat. This feature remains a design hallmark of the Seawind range to this day. The windows through the saloon are a little bit more upright, and so we're just getting more headroom throughout the entire boat. Just means I can sit here in a little bit more comfort, a little bit more volume through the saloon. As is down below. There's 60mm of extra beam through the keel, which just gives us a little bit more room through the companionways. And because the decks are flat, we're getting a lot more headroom through the entire cabin compartment space. This means flat decks here and a lot more volume and headroom over the beds. The interior fit out is modern and stylish, using a sycamore timber trim and cupboards. The galley is wider than on previous models and offers incredibly open space, yet it's hidden out of the way to hide the evening dishes. The forward cabin also benefits from greater headroom and volume, while the aft cabin is wider and higher than on previous models too. So obviously this boat has more than enough space and comfort for a couple to go cruising. But can you really cruise with outboard motors? Well, this couple sailed from Australia to Greece with outboards.
Outboard motors are great. I mean, once you're sailing, which is what you're trying to do 90% of the time in any case, there's lots of wind in the cruising areas that we were going to at the right time of the year. Once you lift those motors out of the water, then it's just the most blissful sailing experience. And to me, any sort of reliability issues or maintenance issues, that beauty and freedom of the sailing overrides that a little bit. That said, I mean, these are high-tech motors. They're not little old two-strokes that they're putting in, that Seawind will put in. Yeah, they perform flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly.
There are some big benefits of using outboard motors on a sailing cat. One, they are lighter. These 50 horsepower outboards are 40 kilograms lighter each than compared to the 30 horsepower diesel sail drive equivalent. Two, they are cheaper. The cost of purchase of installing these are much less, and they're a good entry-level option, but also less of a financial burden later to replace. Three, there is less maintenance. No seals or anti-foul to worry about, and you always have a shiny propeller. 4, less drag when sailing. You raise them when sailing to provide the ultimate in performance. Okay, with the twin 50 horsepower high thrust Yamahas, we've got oodles of power on this boat. We're sitting at about 3100 revs and we're doing 7.3 knots speed over ground. If we take that up and give it full revs, accelerates like a speedboat, and we see the speed climb pretty quickly. Now we've gone to full revs and we're getting 9.1 knots boat speed out of it, which is pretty impressive for an outboard boat. So now we know the boat motors convincingly, but how does it sail with such large outboard motors? Well, let's find out. We'll sync the data from the chart plotter and give real performance results as we go. We raise the Doyle cruising laminate square top mainsail with the Lumar electric winch, then unfurl the self-tacking jib and sail upwind. Now we can raise the motors to reduce the drag. So let's see how far we can point this. Okay, so we're just on the nose there now. A little bit tight. Back off the breeze, get our telltales flying. All right, just sitting into the groove there now. Main's on tight, jib's on tight. We're sitting on 40 degrees apparent wind angle, which is where we'd expect it to sit. We might throw a quick tack in while we're at it. Cast head on the other side, isn't it? Yeah, you can feel it pick up pretty quickly there. Let's get it back up to 8 knots. So sitting on 8 knots comfortably all the time, touching 9s. Haven't got any extra sails at the moment. These are purely working sails. So a screecher would be really nice off the breeze right now, but this is handling quite nicely. And yeah, looking good. Car for the jib, yep. All right, we'll throw a quick tack in. Beautiful. Bring that back up to about 40 degrees. All right, so we're sitting there pretty nice now at 42 degrees, 41 degrees. Apparent, a little bit gusty here. And she's lifting. Tracks along beautifully, very well balanced. So one thing you notice on the new XL is that access to the forward compartments and the forward deck is much safer. It's flat, much wider through the companions on either side of the coach roof, and the safety rail height is much higher at 800mm high, which is great for big blokes like me. When we go up to the forward compartments here, we've got much deeper lockers as well. And that's great for storage of whether it's fenders or toys or whatever it might be. You've got a little bit more depth. And on the forebeam, this is a carbon reinforced beam blast into both the hull and the deck of the boat, just making it a bit stiffer than other models. And finally, the champagne or the dolphin seats are standard on the boat. And up on the bows, we've got these really beautiful raked bows. Now that pushes the buoyancy further forward. The front beam is 250mm higher off the water, so we've got a lot more clearance and just a lot more power when going to windward and off the breeze. At 7.8 tonnes and an upwind sail area of at least 87 square metres, this model has a very strong sail area to displacement ratio of 22.6. So let's see how she sails on the breeze. Here you can see we're doing about 8 knots of approximately 40 degrees apparent. Off the breeze, and she really flies. We touch over 10 knots reaching back in, and this is just on working sails alone. We talked to Seawind 1160 Light owner David Cox about his experience sailing the new 1160XL in Thailand. And what about sailing the XL? What was your experience sailing that boat?
Well, you know, I love my 1160, and yeah, it's it's an 1160 and it sails very nicely. We had the screecher out a lot. These boats love their screecher if you've got the right conditions. But I think the other thing was we did do one little passage through a very narrow neck between two islands, which was hard on the wind, and she handled that really well. I thought it was the acid test, you know. I thought, well, I'm going to start an engine here in a minute, but no. She maintained a very high angle and even a very light wind. It just, you know, ghosted through.
I mean, you've sailed the light with outboard motors for a while now. What's your take on, you know, sailing with outboards?
Well, I would say the question of what you want to do is the real answer to that question. But what most people want to do is a bit of racing, bit of harbour cruising, maybe go up to pit water, and you know, they're not going around the world, but they go and buy a boat that's capable of going around the world and put up with all that weight and expense for, you know. Jeremy Clarkson's got this lovely say, he said, you don't wear ski boots 50 weeks of the year, you only wear them 2 weeks of the year. So why would you buy a boat that's for the 2 weeks? So I think the 1160 hits that spot. You know, it's actually ideal for most of what most people do. And the outboards are part of that. They fold up, get rid of the drag, expense is a bit lesser than purchase end. So yeah, I think it's a very good option. If people think hard about what they really want to do.
So we've established that the boat sails well, but how does it compare against other catamarans? Well, we've entered it into the Multi-Hull Cruising Yacht Club's Twilight Race here on Sydney Harbour this afternoon, and up against some stiff competition, including several well-sailed other Seawinds and also a Nautilus 40. The race has a staggered start based on handicaps for each boat. So we got a nice little start here and we're bang on head to head with an 1160 light here, so it'll be a nice test to see how the boat goes. And they've got some real pace on them, so let's see. We have some great racing with the Seawind 1160 light and a Seawind 1250.
We're able to.
They're both closely matched. We managed to pass the 1160 and also eventually the 1250. But we get caught up with a ferry and they gained on some wind shifts and eventually snuck past us again. But our performance in a straight line was quite strong. We did, however, close in on the Nautilus 40 and beat it across the line after giving it a 15-minute head start, which is pretty impressive. Oh, well, we beat the Nautilus. The elapsed times of the racing shows that the new XL was very evenly matched against the 1160 light, but slightly faster than the 1250 and 1260s, and a reasonable margin on the Seawind 1370. The boat sailed today will soon be available to charter in Sydney Harbour or in the Whitsundays. If you're interested in our special charter investment program or the new Seawind 1160XL limited edition introductory offer, scan the QR code here or click the link below.